Welcome to the Army Football Podcast. I'm Sal Interdonato. We're here for another season with my co-host Steve Anderson, captain of the 2010 team. And Steve, I mean, your team finished the season with a bowl win, and now this team is coming into the season after a bowl win with a lot of guys returning. And you just wonder the mentality of this team now. Maybe there's the winning culture starting to build at West Point after last season with the win over Navy and the bowl win over North Texas, right?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing will be the mentality. Anytime you build a culture around success and a mentality around success, you have to kind of bring that thought process and those ideals and the mentality to work each and every day. These guys have now got a taste of what success feels like. Some of these younger guys, that's all they know. Some of these older guys, they know what it's gone through, through 2014, 2015 seasons where, they might have been ranked high as far as, defensive, total defense and total offense, but didn't really get to see the wins like they did in 2016, and now hopefully into 2017.
Yeah, and they've had a long preseason because there's no two-a-days anymore. The NCAA got rid of two-a-days, so they've been at this for 5 weeks pretty much, and they got to be chomping at the bit for tonight, right? Kickoff is at 6:00 at Mikey Stadium. Just from a player's perspective, what's that like to go through camp and finally have game day here?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of for these younger players, it's Friday night under the lights, just like it was back in high school. We're on the road tonight, right? We're at Fordham?
No, it's at Mikey Stadium, so.
It is at Mikey Stadium?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I thought I read that it was, I don't know why I thought it was at Fordham, but, yeah, so, great way to open up. I mean, we've got some key losses to the team, especially on defense, with the heart and soul of the team both graduating with Timpf and King out. But I think we're looking for Alex Zuckerman to kind of step up and be that aggressive guy that kind of leads that defense from the middle with a couple other linebackers stepping up. We got probably. Who they got playing the linebacker now?
They got Scott Washley, who's a senior, who's sat 3 years. When he's got a chance to get on the field, it's not like he's froze. He's really played well when he's been called on to spell King the last 3 years. So, they expect a lot out of Washley. And Steve, to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of leadership from Washley in the preseason, some stuff that maybe I didn't see in the past because, you had King and Tiff as your captains, and now he's really stepped up and really, got those linebackers in shape and said, listen, we can't accept anything less but your absolute best in practice. And that's really helped, I think, those linebackers. Watch Cole Christensen tonight. He's a sophomore. He's going to be the other inside linebacker. He's 6'2". He's 225 pounds. He's athletic. I was talking to Jay Bateman earlier this week, and he said that, they thought he was going to be a good player, but for him to be where he is as a sophomore, he's already exceeded their expectations. They're really excited. He's going to really play Tim's position, so we'll see what happens there. And you know what? I always say this, but Kenneth Brinson kind of gets overlooked. He's going into his third year as a starter as an outside linebacker, and he's just a solid guy who just plays his responsibilities, can play pretty run against the run or the pass, and their defense I think will be okay. I think the defense will be okay. It's gonna all hinge on the guys up front too. I think those guys got to take some. They got to take.
Gonna be
Yeah.
absolutely true. Is that I haven't heard a lot from Holt Jr. either. I mean, is him and Washley kind of going after the same position to replace Tiff, or did Washley kind of earn that spot in camp?
Oh, well, what they did is they actually moved Kalen Holt to fullback. Yeah, so he's playing behind Davidson and Woolfolk, but the coach said that he had a really good camp. The problem is he got a hamstring injury last weekend, so I'm not sure what his availability is going to be for tonight, but he's a good athlete. Coach Munkin says he's one of their best players. Got to get him on the field, and they rotated those fullbacks last year, So
Yeah,
Woolfolk is going to be the starter, but it's not like he's going to see 35 carries or 30 carries. They like to keep those guys fresh, and Holt can also play slot back, and they really have issues. They don't have issues at slot back. They just don't have a lot of depth right now at slot back, experience depth. So they moved Holt to where he could maybe got him some snaps at slot back. So who knows? Who knows where we'll see Kate? He's one of their best special teams guys too. So who knows where we'll see him tonight if he's healthy to play. So
yeah. I think it doesn't hurt when our top 9 rushers, from the 2000, bowl win season, 2016 bowl win season, and then have 4 linemen returning as well on offense. I mean, I think the biggest thing will be, Bradshaw and Davidson or Will Forks, controlling the pace of the game, running that good veer option, triple option. And then I guess, we got to do better. We got to connect on the big play more on the passing guy, the Edgar post, and really just capitalize off those passing yards.
Yep.
I mean, only have, I think I read like 10 yards per catch last season, which is, good, but I mean, when you only complete 44% of them, it's kind of, it kind of limits the ability, to have guys respect that pass and can really load the box up.
Yeah, I was talking to offensive coordinator Brent Davis this week, and he's like, I'm like, was there an emphasis to pass more in this preseason camp? And he said, well, maybe not pass more, but pass more efficiently, and that's what you're talking about. He said like Ahmad's worked a lot on his passing. What quarterbacks coach Mitch Ware. I think the issue is finding receivers that are going to step up. Edgar Poe graduated. His brother Christian's no longer on the football team. Those are your top 2 receivers, and now you got to we got to watch Cam Harrison, a freshman who's really gotten a run late in preseason, who's really shown that he might be the guy, and we'll see because Jermaine Adams is starting right now as the other wide receiver, and Jermaine's a really good blocking wide receiver. We haven't seen him yet. His ability to catch the ball, they haven't really thrown a lot to him in games. He's a senior. We have to see what that's all about, and maybe they work in some tight ends and slot backs. Steve, there's nothing wrong with a slot back going out and running into the flat and catching the football. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, because as soon as that guy responsible for the slot, he doesn't get the pitch, he kind of takes the breather. Like, oh, thank God he didn't get the pitch. Like, my responsibility is taken care of. And then, you play a little feint where you kind of slow down a little bit, and then you accelerate again into the flat, or maybe just run a fly route. Yeah. And that guy is completely off balance because he didn't realize, oh, it's actually become a pass, because triple option is so important to just watch your man, just watch your responsibility. So all it takes is that little stutter step from our backs to do it.
No doubt. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, all I was going to say is that, we don't have to pass any more than we did last year. It's all about efficiency, like we talked about. It comes down to the plays that we pass the ball on, we have to capitalize because, again, they're few and far between, and we don't need to get past that. That's not our bread and butter. Our bread and butter is to make sure that we're, the fullback dive and belly option are good to go and just capitalize. I mean, we see it all the time where, that's where Navy and Air Force have their big plays. They only pass the ball a few more times than we do, but it's always, they always strike for a 60-yard touchdown, or they strike for a 40 yards. It's always a big touchdown pass because, they're efficient and they capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think that we're talking slotbacks in the passing game. I think that we just real quick mention of senior John Trainer. He's a guy who's probably one of the best receivers on the team. So I think that he's the guy to look out for maybe in this game and early in the season. Just real quick, we'll just touch upon. We talked about the offensive line. They're a little banged up the last couple weeks of practice, but I'm not sure if it's going to keep any of those guys out. You look at the seasons that they had last year with Bryce Holland and Brett Toth. Those guys are, and Mike Houghton's. He started the last 2 years. He's a little banged up, but should play. That's. I mean, that's the strength of the team. I think is the offensive line. So, with the triple option offense, if they're healthy, that certainly will be a good sign for the offense. I think so.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Everybody who knows football, talks football, and has been around the game, they know basically the quarterback and running backs are successful because the offensive line and your linebackers are successful because your defensive line. There's no question about it. These guys just go to work day in, day out. They're just the big uglies up front, man. They don't get a lot of recognition, but everybody knows that when a running back has a 1,000-yard season and when a quarterback, throws for 1,000 and runs for 1,000, we all know who's responsible for allowing them to be able to do that. And like you said, Toth, Holland, those guys up front, they've got experience. Bradshaw's going to be the conductor. He's going to be the general out there on the field and allow those guys to take over the game by just using their experience. But with having so many returners on such a good team, because this Fordham team's, they're not bad. I mean, they were a game away from winning their conference last year. They had a close game with Navy last year. I think they're preseason 18th in the FCS, and if anything taught us about teams in the FCS, I mean, they can play with the FBS teams.
Yep. Yeah, and also we have to go back a couple of years ago to the season opener. Fordham came into Mikey Stadium and beat Army. They won 37-35, kind of a little bit of a wild game. Talking to Coach Munkin this week, he said that we made so many errors in that game. So he's put that out as a reminder to his team. Normally, you don't really bring up games in the past when you're talking about a season opener, but this is the time to do it. And they have they have probably the best running back in Division I AA in Chase Edmonds. 5,200 yards, almost 5,300 yards he's rushed for in his career, which is mind-boggling, And they have a strong quarterback with Kevin Anderson, who started 2 years ago against Army. So they have a good offense. Their defense, I was looking at it, and they do have a bunch of seniors, guys who have some experience. So, I mean, it's definitely it's not. I wouldn't call a season opening game a trap game, but it's a game where Army needs to play at its best to win. They can't just take this opponent lightly. And Alex Ackerman said there's no way they're taking Fordham lightly. So it should be a fun game to watch, I think.
Well, coming off of a season where they ranked 4th in the FCS in total offense and scoring, I think the biggest thing to take away from that is these guys can play football. Like you said, their quarterback and running back are definitely players to watch out for. But as well as I do, Sal, every year comes down to basically two things. Okay, controlling the clock and turnover battle.
Yep.
Turnover mark. All right. I mean, if we continue to hold the ball for 35 minutes a game and wear down that defense, and keep their defense on the field and allow our defense to stay fresh and not allow their offense to get into a groove, and we don't turn the ball over, Sal, I mean, you know it, man. We're a tough team to beat against whoever. I mean, you look at the schedule, and if we don't turn the ball over and hold the ball for 35 minutes, we've got every game on there where I think we're able to win. The game at Ohio State is going to be a great atmosphere for us. I mean, definitely some bowl-esque type of atmosphere. But I mean, looking across the board, we hold the ball for 35 minutes and don't turn the ball over. So it's tough to a team that can do that.
Yeah, and Coach Munkin brought up this stat on I think it was a podcast earlier this week. They in games where they didn't turn the ball over last year, they were 6-0. So,
Yeah.
there you go. That's it right there. Like you said, that's it right there. 6-0 in games where they play turnover-free football. So, we'll see what happens. The kicking game is, according to the coaches, has improved with Blake Wilson back as the kicker and Nick Schregg as the punter. That was an Achilles heel, no doubt. Last year, the special teams was probably one of the worst in college football last year. If that can improve, maybe they get a game here and a game there. And like you said, look at the schedule. The Ohio State game sticks out, and the one game that sticks out too, Steve, is the Air Force game at Air Force. They want to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy this year. This is a team that's good enough to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. Air Force may be a little down. They started 11 seniors on defense against Army last year. So, they might be rebuilding their defense. Some key offensive players, the Robinette wide receiver, he's graduated. So, Navy, we saw that Navy game last year. It looked like Army had a little bit more talent on the field than Navy did last year. So, I think the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, just real quick, we'll wrap it up with talking about that and how important it is to the program and their chances at winning it this year.
It's everything. It's the goal. It's always the goal going into the season. Obviously, you have your season goals, but it's kind of our season within the season, if that makes sense. It's our tournament within the season, if you will. Those are two games that are always circled, Air Force and Navy. It's our future brothers in arms. It's bragging rights. It's a different game all together. As far as everything that goes around it, it's similar teams with similar players running similar systems, going into similar things afterwards. It's so special. Looking back at it, while I was a player, you obviously are just like, look, it's just another game. It's not anything different. We just got to execute. Is actually absolutely right. That's how you got to go into the game as a player. But now as a fan and as a previous player, I get to kind of sit back and enjoy just how special those games are. But without a doubt, we gotta win. 1996, man.
That's a long
time ago.
Yeah.
20 years since we won it. It'd be kind of a nice kind of way to end it. 2017, where my old coach Benny Cowika, who works with the Redskins now. He was the captain of that 1996 Commander-in-Chief's trophy.
Yeah.
So been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been an even longer time. Since we won the CIC and won a bowl game in the same year. So
yeah,
it'd be nice to end all those streaks. We ended some streaks last year. Let's just end them all this year. Start fresh in 2017 and really just kind of take that step. Sal, that step that I talked about when I was there as a player, where we've turned the program around and we're done with the losing seasons and the bad losses and we're not in every game. It's time to take that step where we need to prove to everyone that Army's here to stay and we are a top tier program to you better plan for us on your schedule or you're going to get beat.
Yeah, you look at we'll close it out. You just look at the college the coaches preseason poll, and Army did get a vote in that. So the respect is starting to gain a little respect, and who knows, a good showing at Ohio State in week 3. You never know. Like we said, this team could have 8 wins last season. I think they can. I think they could win more games this year, and we'll see. It starts tonight at Fordham with Fordham at Mikey Stadium at 6:00. Steve, appreciate all the insight. We'll be back here after every week recapping the games and look forward to another fun season on the podcast.
Oh yeah, it's just interesting how the year we started the podcast, we started to dominate again. So I'm just saying, could be a little foreseeable future now that we've got this thing up and running.
You got it.
Yeah, super excited about the season. Can't wait to watch the game tonight. I had to order the channel specifically. You know, I had to order some other channels, but I gotta watch my Army team. And I know I got some Army football players down here at Fort Benning that are in the infantry that are excited to watch the game tonight, and I know it'll be, you know, full force, man. Always trying to bring the brotherhood back together to watch us win. So there's only one thing to do tonight, Sal, and that's beat Fordham. So let's beat them.
Gotcha. We'll wrap it up. We'll see you guys back here next week. Have a good one, Steve.
All right, Sal. Beat Fordham.